So today, kind of the main focus of this webinar is to look at the newest report delivery method called the report repository. It was released initially in 12.2.0 back in September. Then there were some updated functions included in our current release, which is 12.2.3. The repository is available for both call manager and contact center reporting. It's accessed from the call analytics reporting menu. So when you're in the main menu, if you have 12.2.0 or later, you'll see two links here, or two options where there only used to be really none. So to access the repository from any cluster, click on repository, and that will take you to the main menu. The way this works is anytime a report is generated within our software, a copy of that file is stored locally on the Verify server. This helps you go back. You can either retrieve reports if you've lost it, or you've deleted the email that it came in, or you've clear out downloads folder from your browser. Also, you can also share links, and I'll show you in a few seconds here how you can, if someone forgot a report or you have a great report you want to share with somebody else, instead of sending a large file attachment, you can just share a link where they can come in, and with the link, they can download it straight to their PC. Top left corner contains all of the search function. Here you can, the default settings will show all the reports for yourself. If you are an administrator in the system, you have the option to see reports for other users. If you are not an administrator, you can only see your reports. So if I want to see other users' reports, I'm an administrator, I click on other users. The default setting is all users, but I can pick some users. So if I want to see all of Vic's reports, and I want to see, let's say, Jim's reports, I can add them to the user list and then click on view history, and I'm showing all the reports generated by myself, Victor, and Jim for the previous or for the current week. If I X out, I can show reports from all users, and you'll see once I view history, it went from 72 to 80 reports. On the far right, date and time range selector. If you've run reports before in our software, this looks familiar. Same idea. From the drop down, you have all the different pre-built canned ranges. I'm going to change mine to year to date. Apply, and then refresh, and now I have all the reports for myself and for all the users going back to January 1st. So I'm gonna turn off other users to keep my history small. And underneath these settings, you can filter by cluster. So if you want to see certain reports for a specific cluster, now I'm in the Mexico cluster, but even though I'm in the Mexico cluster, I can also see reports for any other cluster with this option turned on. If I want to add other clusters, I can add our contact center cluster. If I want to add, I can add the contact center. If I want to add another call manager cluster, I can add the Chicago cluster, and then clicking view history, which refresh the display. And now you can see I have reports that were run against the Mexico cluster and for the Verify CCX cluster. Another way to filter, you can filter by report name. So I have, like, for example, and these can all work together, but I have a report set up called, I believe it's 7XXX inbound, that I receive daily. So if I click on view history, you can see all the times that this report has been generated, and every time it's against the Mexico cluster, and you can see that my name is the username. So underneath all the report settings, or the filter settings, is the table that contains all of your reports. So let me actually get rid of that and show all of my reports for the current year. Going from left to right, you have the standard checkboxes to select or unselect the reports. When you select a report, or reports plural, you have the option to either delete the reports, which pretty self-explanatory, they're gone, or you can protect the reports, or you can unprotect the reports. The idea behind protecting reports is it's there because the system, we're storing these reports locally on the server. There is a purge set up to delete the files, or to delete the oldest reports from the folder once the folder gets to a certain size. If there's certain reports in your system that you need to hold on to, whether for legal reasons or anything else, if you protect them, then they won't be deleted if they're older, or like some of the older reports, and the purge runs. So here I click on protect selected. The icon for the reports is now the darker colored of the locks. So these reports are protected. If I want to change it, unprotect, they're there. If I want to delete them, I can delete. Let's pick report. This one here can go. Delete selected. Are you sure you want to delete? Confirm. Now that report is now gone. Second column shows you the type, the file format. So this red color is PDF. The green is Excel. This aqua blue is CSV, and the darker blue is HTML. Next to that is the report name, file size, which cluster the report was run against, Search time window is the search time of the report, which user generated the report or created the schedule. So like for instance, the 7XXX inbound report, I'm not running it every morning, but I built the schedule. So therefore I'm the user tagged with the report. And then to the right, scroll back down. To the right is the delivery method. So, this report here, I emailed to myself. This report was downloaded. This report was sent straight to the repository. And then status. This is really great, and it helps sometimes with troubleshooting. You can see when the report was requested and what time. And you can also see when it was completed and at what time. So a lot of these reports are small reports. They're either I'm just running them as testing. So there's not a lot of data. So they run within a minute. So you can see when they completed and were requested. I do have the one in here. I have a good example. It's the inbound one. This one here. This one failed. And it said it failed. I don't know why it failed, but this is great for troubleshooting. If you're if someone says I didn't get a report, or if you didn't get a report, or you want to see what happened, was the report actually generated and was it sent out to its, was it sent out to the email server, or was it downloaded? You can see here, and it doesn't tell you why it failed, but at least it tells you, hey, this report doesn't exist. It wasn't generated. I can't click on anything over here to download the file. Like for here, if I click, I can cover the icon, I can click on it, or I can click on the report name, and it'll download the report straight to my browser here. But here, there's nothing to click on, nothing to download. So again, this is a great tool for troubleshooting. And this is available 12.2 or 12.2.0. So if you have it and you're missing a report, you may not even know that the repository exists. It's there, and definitely if you're looking for older reports, check it out. So to the right, we have the URL access. So you can share a link to the report to somebody else. Just turn on the URL access, copy the link by clicking on the icon there, and then just paste the link anywhere you need to. You can send it to a coworker or employee, a manager, someone who may not necessarily need access to the software, and then it brings it right up, downloads the file, and it's right there. Here's the report. Okay, moving to the right, another download icon. So you can download the report by clicking on this icon, the report name, or the icon here. And these icons here I already covered. This is to protect. This report is not protected. So when the time comes, if the folder gets too large and the report is one of the older reports, it will be purged or deleted, as it says when I hover over it, by the routine that runs, I believe, nightly. But it can be scheduled for any time of the day. And then the icon at the end, trash can icon, will delete the report. So delete it, confirm, it's gone. If I have a report that's protected, you'll notice that the delete icon is gone. If I accidentally select it, and I click, let me get rid of all of these. If I click on delete selected, it will say it's the same same text. You cannot undo this action. But if I click on confirm, the 3 reports that were not locked are gone, but the 1 report that was is still there. So even accidentally clicking on it, you cannot delete it unless you uncheck the box. When it comes to delivering reports, if you go to reports, and when you are emailing out, or when you're running a report, I should say, you'll see the new option in the delivery screen. So click on delivery, and you'll see it. There's a couple settings, a couple spots where where the new features exist. The one to the far right is repository. When this option is selected, the report will be generated and it'll be saved or stored in the repository, and that's it. It won't be downloaded. It won't be emailed. It'll just sit in the repository for whenever you're ready to come in and download the report. If you select email, you have a new option. So the default setting is to include the report as a file attachment to the email, but now you have the option to include the report not as a file attachment that will sit in someone's inbox, but to include it only as a download link. So for here, if I run this report, I send it to myself. Let me run it. There we go. If we go back to the repository, show you refresh. Here is the report I just generated. Now, if I wanted to, I could download it from here. We can see I requested it at 11:18. It's 11:18, or I'm sorry, it's Pacific time, 11:18. It's currently 1:18 my time here in Chicago. And then it generated within less than a minute. And I've received the email. Here is my email. See here, I got the email from Colleen. The report is now available for download. I click the link, opens up a new tab. Same link that we saw here, or same visual link, different GUI or GUID ID, and it downloads the file. So here's the report. I'm sure there's no data because I'm just it's not current, but And so it's a different way of delivering the report. Instead of sending out like a 10 meg file, you can just have the file stored as a sent it via a link, and that way it's taking up space on the server, not in your inbox. Okay, so those are the delivery methods. Going for as far as how to configure the repository. So if you go under settings, and if you're an administrator in the system, go under system, go to application settings, and you can find there's two sets of settings for the repository. You have the main, like the one global setting. This is where you set up the URL where you could download the files. So our protocol here is set for HTTPS. Here's the IP or the host. You can put in the name of the IP of the server and the port. So this part here comes right from these settings here. And then underneath this setting, you've got two sets of settings. One for the Cisco, or what we call the CDR reports, and then another for the contact center reports. They're the exact same settings. It's just we separate them because you have the option to configure them based upon either call volume or the volume of reports that you're running for each platform. So you can configure the root directory. There's one for contact center, one for CDR, and then how much space it's going to take up. So this directory is set to take up 1 gig of disk space. Same thing with the contact center. As you can see here, the call manager folder is taking up over 1 gig of space. So tonight at midnight or tomorrow at midnight, when the routine runs, it will purge out older reports to get under that 1.1 gig of space. We also have the ability to alert if there's if the reports are taking up X amount of space. So for here, if we're taking up, or if the folder is taking up 70% of the 1 gig, in this case, if I turn this on, we would send an alert to Edgar. Same setting for contact center. You can just set reports to different users or the same email address. It's up to you how you want to send it out. And that pretty much covers the repository. One thing worth mentioning, when you configure this initially within your system, that I believe the default setting for the host is localhost. So if you want to send a link to other users who are downloading it from outside of the server, definitely update the host to either the correct IP address or the correct host name. So as far as when it comes to user settings, there aren't any new security settings. Every user can access the repository and see their own reports. So if you have just a basic user, they log in, all they're going to see is, they're going to see this, show history for myself. They won't see this, and they can go back and retrieve any lost reports. If you are a system administrator, you can see all the other reports, and you can download, and see and lock or unlock reports for any other user. And that covers a brief introduction. Matt, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Awesome. Fantastic job as always, Mike. Thank you. One thing I do want to point out for everyone with regards to the report repository, as Mike had mentioned there, in the system application settings, even if you're on an older release before we had the report repository and then you update it to our current .3 release, the host name will default to localhost. So if you have upgraded recently and it's not working for you, certainly, as Mike mentioned, do know that we'll need to come in here and update with IP or the host name address.